I would have rejected this email.
Yeah.
Screeners, I would reject this stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the type of emails that is helpful to anyone, and like, this is her problem. She's emotionally immature and she's hung up on shit that she has no control over.
I disagree that this isn't helpful because a lot of people live in this mindset.
Yeah.
And I think us discussing this could be a rude awakening for a lot of them. I like being dainty and feminine and taking care of the house and having fresh baked bread when you get home and shit. I thrive in that.
Yeah.
When I was that I'm a woman, hear me beat on my chest, I can do everything a man can do, all men, I 100% was seeking a pat on my back for all the shit. I would bring it up whenever I had the opportunity to. Yeah, I pay my own rent, I pay my own bills, this is how much I'm making, and I'm struggling, but I'm doing it as a single mom. And then I would cry myself to sleep at night.
I also think it's important, men, that if you're five weeks into a relationship with somebody, you shouldn't be going above and beyond.
No.
You should be building the foundation still and learning each other's communication habits and working on that. Don't try to go in there and play Captain Save-A-Ho.
He left for a boys' trip to the beach the week after. There are some days where he says our baby doesn't look like him. She looks like a mini me, and he jokes that he hopes he's the father because he doesn't know what I did during that week while he was gone.
This is stupid. Get a DNA test. And we are back.
We're back, bitches.
Episode 49.
49.
In the garden.
I'm so excited that you're over here with me.
I feel like a little special right now because this is supposed to be a chicks only thing, and I'm here doing the thing, even though it's not a garden segment. Still podcast.
You want to tell people why we're here?
Pure laziness. Yeah, pure laziness. I didn't want to drive up here and take the cameras home.
Okay.
So lights are all set up, cameras are all set up.
Yep.
Normally when we leave here Sunday night, I take the cameras to the house so that we can record Monday, and we didn't record Monday. I did the premiere instead. So we're doing life things. You and I are trying to figure out new schedules.
Yes.
Trying to figure out life stuff. I downloaded 5 old episodes from Vimeo from when we first started the Patreon so that we can have Patreon content that was like very rarely seen because it's old as fuck.
Yeah.
To go live for December 22nd through January 1st so that we don't have to record and can take a week off around Christmas.
That's dope.
And I'm trying to navigate our schedules to make this less of a job and more fun again because it became very much a job again after Vegas and I'm already burnt out. So
me too. I'm very much looking forward to going to Tennessee.
Yeah. I'm realizing that I still have a very addictive personality. I've become super addicted to e-bikes. The Sur-Ron Light B and the Talaria Sting RMX4 currently is my obsession. However, this morning I started looking at the Ultra Bs, which is the next up on the badassery of bikes, but they're more of an actual dirt bike.
Yeah.
So I don't think I would be able to get away with riding it the way that I ride the ones that we have now. And until you get better, there's no point in even buying that bike. It would cost us $13,000 to buy 2 of them. So I don't know.
Yeah, I certainly still need to gain the skill set. I've ridden twice.
We also started looking at Sprinter vans, not Sprinter vans, Class B vehicles. I think that I want to buy a Recon 4x4, the Pleasureway Recon 4x4. You guys can look that up. It's super dope.
Yeah.
But it gives us the garage that we can put the bikes in the back of that thing and then do that. And I think that if I do that, I may get rid of the truck. Because I can cram everything that we need to move. Well, maybe not. Every time I sell my truck, I regret it. Every fucking time I sell my truck, I regret it. So I probably won't do that. I'll probably just pay the truck off and then buy that might be the move.
That makes sense.
So
I like the idea with the van too. Once the kids are older, it'd be much more easier to travel with them.
Yep.
And we can make a bunk bed situation in there.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about homeschooling.
Yeah.
I know they need the help going into it. I'm really hoping middle school is when we'll be able to.
Yeah, I think it might be able to happen sooner than that. There's just small obstacles that we have to overcome first. I would like to be able to do that too because we can set up to record on the road.
We could.
So if we had them and we were doing the homeschool thing, we could be like, okay, today we're going to learn about Gettysburg and fucking go to Gettysburg and make a field trip out of it. Right. You know, and do the whole thing. And then while we're out there, we could field trip and explore and, see family and do that shit. Like, I think that would be cool. I also think that if we get the Recon, I want to wrap it in topographical map and then put To Be Better shit all over it.
I'm here for that. I want to have a little section on there where we can place like magnets or something of the states that we've been to.
Need stickers.
I want to do that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know. I think that's my next thing. I've started putting away money for it. That I found a used one today, a 2022 model for like $130,000. The problem is those are registered as a second home. And even though we have a ton of equity in our home, I don't know how I would go about doing that. And like with tax shit, I've never done it before. So I guess the only thing to do is to go down there and be like, hey, I want to buy this. What do we have to do?
Make that happen.
See if it's as simple as them just running my credit. If I have to prove income, I have to do it with their bank statements. Because we have this now. So our taxes for 2023 is going to look very different than 2022.
Right.
So I don't know. 'Tis a thing. But hear them kids screaming out there playing on the playgrounds.
I love hearing kids have fun.
I bought the playground for the kids. It shipped. So I'm thinking it'll be here next week. Today's the 7th. So I think it'll be here on the Thursday of next week.
Okay. How are we going to go about getting that set up?
My cousin's doing it.
Are we still planning on doing that for a Christmas present? Or
I think we're just going to do it.
Okay.
I don't like the really big gift like that. Yeah. Like it's cool for parents to give, here's a really big gift. Kids don't understand that.
Right.
Kids want quantity, not, over quality. So when you're 4 or 5 years old and you got 900 presents underneath the tree that you bought at the dollar store, they don't know the fucking difference. They see that playground, that's cool. But like, I also know that them going outside to play and playing on the playground means that I can edit or do inside work stuff while they're there and it not be screaming and yelling. I also think that I'm going to move my computer into the other office now that window's a hurricane window and it's got the heat blocking.
Oh.
So that I can actually go in there and close the door when they're there if I need to work. Because yesterday, the three of you were having fun on the couch and it was laughter and giggling and I could not hear anything. And I was going to put my headphones on and I was just like, you know what? I just don't even need to be doing this right now. I'm just going to go sit on the couch and do nothing instead. And that's what I did.
You were working last night?
I was starting to. Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it wasn't yesterday. Maybe it was the weekend. I don't know. It was the other day. It was within the last 5 days that happened. It might not have been yesterday. I was doing something and I needed to hear it. And I couldn't because of all the laughter and playfulness. And this is a good thing. That's a good fucking...
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, if you're going to have a disruption, it should be laughter and playfulness instead of screaming and crying and tantrums. But
yeah,
it'd be like that. We need to have a meeting with Steve and AJ too.
We do.
We need to do a work council sit down. I think I need to write down all of my expectations of the two of them, so that they can coordinate working together to make everything happen so that I feel like I'm getting my money's worth of everything.
Yeah.
So, and I don't like being behind. So I don't know. The hardest thing about being a business owner is always the employees. The second hardest thing about being a business owner is giving up the control to the employees because you can do it yourself for free.
Right.
So, but that means, you trade off time and all of that shit. So, yeah. We're going to be moving some stuff behind the paywall. I think that we're going to start doing more interview stuff for Patreon instead of just the general public. I would still like to do content for Fridays, even if it's just 30-minute R&Rs where we sit down and bullshit, because we can do those in a day. And I think that if we planned out a schedule where we did a podcast and an R&R back to back, we could probably take the conversation from the podcast and use that as the R&R and make a full deep dive topic about it. And then we can just record 2 days a week and then do our live streams and call it, done. And I also think that I might want to drop one of the live streams, but we'll have to see how that plays out because I have to look at metrics to figure out which one I'm going to drop.
I was about to say, we should really look at that.
And then we also have to factor in the religious content, which is on pause until the first of the year.
Yeah.
So.
Go
ahead.
The garden segment, I still have to record for that.
Right. But that's a one night a week thing. Or we could do, if you're going to be doing things with Lauren and she's willing to do that for your garden segment, like, she can use the content for her Patreon as well. And that way it's just for Patreon.
Right.
And I think that would be something that would benefit both of you because she would get paid from her patrons. You would get paid from our patrons. And it's.
Since you brought it up, guys, Lauren the mortician and I are in the works of talking about starting the cemetery segment where it's like the garden after dark.
Yeah.
All spooky shit. And we'll do it like reactions to Supernatural. I guess there's a show called 6 Feet Under now.
Yeah.
Or old. 6 Feet Deep.
6 Feet Under.
Something like that. We were requested to react to that. So.
That's something I could set you guys up in the live stream room for.
Really?
Yeah, you could sit at my desk and she could sit at yours because I would have to control everything. So I'd rather you be there than her. But we could set you guys up in there and you could just spacebar to play, and you could do that live if you wanted to, so that,
That would be dope.
yeah. Anyways, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's just options. We have a lot of opportunity for content, but we don't have a lot of opportunity for time.
Right.
And my goal is to get it down to where we are recording less than 10 hours a week. I want to do this less than 10 hours total. If I, with the 2 editors and everybody doing everything that they're doing, if we can come in and record 2 episodes at 4 hours, 2 live streams at 4 hours, like total, that puts us at 8 hours. And then your garden shit or an interview would put us at 10.
Right.
And that's if we have that content. So like the goal is 10 hours or less a week of actual podcast record time, and then put it off to the minions to let them figure out how to make it all work.
That would free up so much time to do other things.
Right. And that's the goal, because the last month we got back from Vegas and I was super fucking ready to go, and we just hit it hard, and I'm burnt out and tired.
Yeah, I have not worked on the self-help journal in about a week.
Yeah.
I've just been focused on the garden segment, the bath line, content creation with the other creators and interviews and whatnot. It's a lot.
Yeah. I have been focused on this and e-bikes.
Yeah.
Equally. 6:30 in the morning, I'm fucking on YouTube looking at bike parts.
I need to get myself into a routine of things. Like, we as a couple need to get into a routine of things, and I have to get myself into a routine of things again.
It's crazy how fast we fell out of that routine.
Oh my gosh.
It used to be wake up, workout, protein shake, meditation journal.
Yeah.
This kid's bedtime.
Right. And now it's just we wake up and go, okay, what we're going to throw in the air today and what's going to land first.
Yeah. We need to sit down and create an actual schedule for work. And then, I mean, the workout thing hasn't changed. The workout will always be first thing in the morning to just get it out of the way, because otherwise I'm not going to do it.
This one's titled Question for the Week, Independent Woman with Providing Man.
Okay. If you have a providing man, you're not an independent woman. Next.
So this is actually from a man.
Oh. Well, then if you are providing for a woman and she claims to be independent, you're not providing enough. Next.
Those two things do not coincide.
No, they don't.
Being independent while simultaneously being part of a team.
Being an adult. You guys just get a fancy word for it. You get to wear your adulthood as like a badge. Like, I'm an independent woman. And I'm like, congratulations, you're an adult.
Oh, yeah.
We don't get to do that. I'm a strong, independent man. I work. Yeah, you're supposed to. We don't get good stuff.
Technically, if we're going back to things like the traditional aspect and whatnot, women are not supposed to be working outside of the household. The men are supposed to be doing the strenuous is not the word. Strenuous, grueling.
Were you about to say grunt work?
No, I strenuous and grueling.
Okay.
I don't even know what I said the first time now.
Grenuous.
Grenuous.
Peachism.
Oh my goodness. We aren't supposed to be doing that. I like being dainty and feminine and taking care of the house and having fresh baked bread when you get home and shit. I thrive in that.
Yeah.
When I was that I'm a woman, hear me beat on my chest, I can do everything a man can do, fuck all men, I 100% was seeking a pat on my back for all the shit. I would bring it up whenever I had the opportunity to. Yeah, I pay my own rent, I pay my own bills, this is how much I'm making, and I'm struggling, but I'm doing it as a single mom. And then I would cry myself to sleep at night.
Yeah. It's rough.
That was the life that I was choosing.
But there's an honesty to that. Like, there's an honesty to that. I wonder how many people feel that way but won't admit the crying at night part.
Oh, because it's weakness.
Right.
Yeah, I would ugly sob, especially the nights that I didn't have the kids. Like, they were at their dad's house.
Yeah.
Those nights I would be ugly crying, binge eating, watching Rick and Morty on TV because it was an escape from my life, and I absolutely hated everything about my life.
Yeah.
Even though I was fat. I was 340 pounds. I was that hardcore raging fourth wave feminist, and I would shit on men who were not deserving of it, and I would have to put on that facade of being confident because, well, you can't see that I'm insecure and fat. I have to show you that I'm not that. And bottling that shit, it would explode. And yeah, I was in a toxic cycle of my own making. Oh, I'm so much happier now. Thank you for this life. Hi, guys. Love what you do. I had just recently discovered your podcast via YouTube and absolutely love it and share it with many people and share it with as many people as I possibly can. You offer so much value and are an integral part of this society and wish that there were more of you guys. Background and context. Just recently, I have engaged in dating again and found this most wonderful woman that we instantly clicked. We have been dating for about 6 months now. I recognize that this relationship is still very new and fresh, but still have some questions if you could be able to help me out with advice. This great woman is someone who has not been in a committed relationship for about 3 years now, like myself, and has started dating again like myself. Unfortunately, her last relationship of 5 years was filled with emotional, mental, and some physical abuse, which has led her to be guarded and tentative when it comes to opening up to the idea of love and commitment, which I totally understand, respect, and recognize. Throughout these years, she has become a very independent woman, living on her own, providing everything for herself, and has her own career. She is huge on having her own space, alone time, and time to decompress, which I respect greatly. Our dating has been great, and we both have had open discussion about our pasts and what our intentions are, and what we want engaging in this relationship with one another. We both have agreed to take this relationship slow and to build a solid foundation for each other. And here lies my question. Going into this relationship with her, I recognize and understand that with what she has gone through before, that there will be certain things that will take time and patience. As a man, how can I be a better man for her and be good for her? How can I better go through this journey alongside her, helping her open up to the idea of love and be there for her? I want to be able to provide for her, make things easier in life because she already has so much on her plate. I want to alleviate some of that stress on her. To me, being able to do these things for her, even simple things, empowers me as a man, but sometimes she refuses my help on things, and sometimes I do not know how to get her to know that it is okay to let go of the reins a bit and trust me as a man and that I can provide for her and I will always be there for her.
I think a lot of this comes down to time.
I was about to say, it comes down to time. It also comes down to her healing herself.
Right. Well, if you've been together for 5 days and you're like, hey, girl, let me pay your rent.
No, thank you.
Yeah, right? She's independent. She's been doing this on her own for 3 years. She doesn't need you.
Mm-hmm.
You guys need to build that foundation and the teamwork and then start working the structure to do things together. That if you guys have been doing this for 6 months or a year, maybe you need to have conversations of like, hey, I really foresee this being a long-term thing. I would like to take some of the burden off of you. How can I help you? Instead of trying to tell her how you're going to help.
Right. Or you could say, what are some things I can do to show you, to gain that trust?
Right.
There are small things that she can let go of. She probably hasn't even thought about that. But if you were to pose the question of what are some small things I can take off your plate to alleviate the stress, along with building your trust and that you can trust me as your man.
Yeah. I also think it's important, men, that if you're five weeks into a relationship with somebody, you shouldn't be going above and beyond.
No.
You should be building the foundation still and learning each other's communication habits and working on that. Don't try to go in there and play Captain Save-A-Ho. Like, go in there and fucking build that foundation. Make sure that she's worthy of your time. Make sure that you're the man that she can fucking, the man that you need to be, you know what I mean, for her, because everybody's got a different requirement of what they see in a man. But, like, I wouldn't be over there cutting her grass and shit and, like, making car payments and doing all that shit until that foundation's settled a little while. Mm-hmm. Give it some time. This is a time thing. She spent 3 years on her own, and so did you. If you guys were to just jump into a relationship and jump into living together, your entire world would become chaos, and that routine would go away. Like, workout routines would fail. Diets would start to go to shit. Like, all of your normal structure, and I'm just using my normal structure, your normal structures will fall apart because you didn't establish a new system. And that's part of that time of building a foundation. You can't just jump in and do that shit. I would start with sleepovers. Figure out who's got the bigger house. Like, if you guys are serious and you want a long-term thing, go slow with it. I'm not saying, date for 6 years and then talk about moving in. I'm saying that you need to really build a foundation and make sure that you two are going to mesh before you start taking on somebody else's responsibilities.
Some things that you can do to subconsciously gain her trust is start opening doors for her. Walk on the side of traffic.
Is that really a thing for you?
It is a thing for me, yeah.
Why?
Because when I walk into a building by myself, the first thing I do is scan the room.
Okay.
I'm immediately looking for threats, especially at a gas station. If you open the door for me, you're the first one to reach that door. You're the first one to look into that door, and you've already decided that it's safe for me to enter. So that alleviates a survival instinct in me.
Do you think that that's a common thing for women to feel that way?
Subconsciously, I think it is, yes. I believe, and I will die on this fucking hill, that 99% of the women in the world subconsciously have the primal need to feel protected and safe. And that is something that is squashed and beaten to the ground and buried with the independent, fuck all men, I can do everything that you can do. I was raised by a single mom and I watched her struggle. So, doesn't mean you have to struggle.
What a fucking statement. I was raised by a single mom and I watched her struggle. She was able to do it, so I can do it. Yeah, but
right.
Do you want to struggle?
Right. Why would you want? I had that mindset.
Yeah.
I watched my mom struggle and she pulled through. You're negating all of the mental effects of that, though, by empowering the struggle of it. Well, what about the fallout of it? I could have 100% turned out into an alcoholic piece of shit who was not a present mother for her children. And I decided not to because that struggle was not worth it for me.
Right. So you think that men just taking the role of the gentleman it is going to, just that act alone is enough to like get women to open up and be a little bit more, I don't know, willing is not the right word because that it could be taken sexual, but
open emotionally.
I don't know how to word what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Willing is the word that comes to mind, but that's not, I don't want to say that because of the way it's going to be taken. But knowing that just opening the doors and like keeping you in a safe scenario makes you want to relinquish things that you're doing to me. Those are mindless, easy things.
Well, for you it is.
It'll be like that for anyone if they practice it for 6 months.
Right, if they practice it, certainly.
Right, it becomes second nature at that point, and you'll do it with everyone. If you have a kid, you've already got that established because you're not going to let your kid run in a parking lot.
Right.
So it's the same thing. It's just a keep your person safe mentality. I don't know.
I think it also comes down to an emotional safety too. There's an emotional safety that you provided for me that allowed me to open up.
Yeah.
And if I make a mistake, I know you're not going to call me stupid.
Right.
If I come to you and ask you a question, I'm not going to be berated for it. You're super willing to be helpful and educate me on things. And I think that's also a massive part contributing to me being able to let go of the reins on things and be less of that independent, fuck all men woman and be more of that submissive housewife and teammate partner. Any final thoughts before I keep reading?
Nope. I really do think that a lot of this comes down to time. I wish you would have said how long they've been together.
6 months.
Oh, I missed that part. Twice, apparently.
Yeah.
Because you had to start the email over because the food came. You're still real new. 6 months is nothing.
I'm going to be honest. I wouldn't try to start taking over things.
No, I wouldn't either.
It would be more of a getting to know you, what makes you tick, what can I do to make you happy.
Right.
And then past that 1 year, year and a half mark of things getting more serious and the future being talked about, then we can start talking about the roles of, well, this is what I want to be in marriage and this is what I want to be for you.
Yeah.
Long term and that kind of thing.
I think there is definitely things that you can do before moving in with somebody to like start building that foundation and solidify who you are as a gentleman.
Don't let her pump her gas.
Right. Simple things, real simple things. But you can do that without being a pushover or being taken advantage of. You just have to set your own boundaries.
Right.
But if you're not living together yet, those boundaries need to be very clear, and the that whole scenario needs to be pushed. You need to pump your brakes a little bit.
Yeah.
Until you're living together, you're not really you're in a relationship, you're dating.
Yeah.
You move in together, that's a different process. And once you start like living together, that's when those roles really come into play. You can be a gentleman and not live together.
So I can already feel it now. I mean, I know I've already pissed off a lot of people with the things that I've said, but me saying don't let her pump her own gas, people are going to fly off the handle for that.
Oh, yeah. Can't say let.
A woman can do anything that she wants to do.
Yeah.
I'm just going to pose this to you. How would you feel if your man went to go get out of the car and you're like, no, babe, I got it. I can pump the gas. And you're like, no, you sit there and you look pretty. You're not going to get out here in this heat and sweat. No. You say that shit to me and I melt.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll sit here and look pretty for you. I don't have to touch the gross gas handle, and sometimes it's hard for me because of my nails. Like I have to like click it really hard, and I have to use hand sanding when I'm done. Let you deal with all of that. I'll sit here and look pretty for you, Daddy.
I don't understand why people want to make an argument out of things like that.
Just let people love you.
Right. Well, but even then, like, you're really creating conflict where there is no conflict.
Yeah.
You are making an argument simply to make an argument because you feel the need to be heard. If that's where you're going, people don't want to fucking hear you anyways.
Well, you're also defending yourself, and what are you defending yourself against?
Right. Yeah. There's no reason for that.
Yeah.
People don't want to hear that shit. When you're trying to get attention by being loud and aggressive in that manner, I don't know. I roll my eyes at this shit.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that video of the couple at the gas station? And they're in a screaming match with some random person at the gas station, and the husband gets out of the car, and the wife comes around and starts screaming at him, "Get in the fucking car."
I have seen that.
Just watching her do that, I was so exhausted.
Yeah.
I let my man handle it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd have left her at the gas station.
That's not attractive. It is not.
Respect goes a long fucking way.
Gosh.
How you talk to your person matters more than how you talk to anyone else on the planet.
Right.
Because you're supposed to be committed to them forever. So if you're screaming and yelling and talking down to them, that's a problem.
And people can say, well, that was a byproduct of her arguing with a stranger. I could be in a screaming match with some random woman, and you come into frame, you're getting a totally different side of me in the middle of the screaming match I'm having with this woman.
That's because you're emotionally regulated.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Most people don't have that emotional regulation. And then they want to say that men are not emotionally vulnerable. Well, if you're not emotionally regulated, why the fuck would I want to delve into my bullshit with you knowing that you're unstable? That's how I view that.
This is kind of off topic, but still on topic. People die on the hill that all men are physically abusive. Right?
Who the fuck says that?
Feminists.
Okay.
I mean, I believed that for a very long time growing up, only seeing men beat the shit out of my mom. Like, that's all I believed that men were. I didn't have another version of that.
Okay.
The only gentlemen that I saw were in movies. And we all know that movies are fake. So that was my reality. I would go on a limb and say that there are far more emotionally violent women than there are men who are physically violent with
Oh, I
women.
agree. 100%.
Yeah.
100%. You guys are vindictive. By
We're
nature,
nasty.
you are vindictive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Men will get angry about something and forget why we're angry and just remember that we were angry, and eventually that anger will just fade. It's gone. You guys will remember something that happened to you in 1982 because somebody's toenail polish was the wrong color with their flip-flops, and like you're going to hold that grudge forever. It's fucking weird the way that all that works. You guys got long memories. We don't.
Yeah, I've actually had to unlearn that.
Yeah.
That was part of my toxic cycle within myself. Looking back on past shit and going, I will never forget this because fuck that person. 10 years have gone by and I'm still, every time I think about it, I get mad at it. That's only doing a disservice to me.
Right. But you're also holding on to that just so that you can use that as a weapon later. You did this to me. I'm the victim.
Oh, I did that with people who were no longer in my life.
Yeah.
Like, just in case we ever cross paths again.
Right.
Fuck you. I'm going to remind you that you did this to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very disgusting mindset. It's a very sad mindset. I think of that mindset and I know that people still live that way, and all of my empathy to you. That's a miserable life to have. And I know that you're sad. I know that you're miserable. I was that person, so.
This is one of those things too, though, that is a you problem.
It is.
And when it comes down to it, like, those people who have done you dirty either don't care that they did you dirty, they're living their life one way or another, or even if they did care, it's not going to change that it happened, so you holding on to that doesn't matter. And they've got their own level of shit to deal with, and they've got their own fucking problems. So while you're angry and feeling the way that you're feeling, they've got the same thing going on in their life. That animosity is pointless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee the people that were doing dirty to me did not care that they were doing dirty to me because I didn't care I was doing dirty to other people.
Right.
You are the people you run with. If everybody in your life is doing your dirty, you should take a step back and reevaluate the actions that you're doing. Yeah.
That picture is so fucking satisfying to look at.
That one?
Yeah.
I did good with that, didn't I?
You did. You nailed that shot. And I don't know if it's because of the exposure settings and how bright white those leaves are, but like that is definitely something for me to focus on while we're speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job on that one.
I'm glad I could provide that for you.
Is that the end of that email?
No, it's not.
Okay.
I'm just gushing for a minute because a professional photographer said good job on that one. Thank you. And he's my husband. Stop it.
That's funny.
In life, really, your opinions about the things I do are the only ones that I care about.
Yeah. It's the way it's supposed to be.
Like, of course, I have my opinions on things, and yours is a secondary opinion.
Right.
If you didn't like that photo, I don't care. I like it. I'm going to leave it there.
Right.
But knowing that you like it and that you complimenting, you don't give out compliments just to give out compliments.
Right.
This is not a participation trophy. So it does mean a lot.
The fact that you just had to say that your opinion obviously matters too is proof that the attacks that are happening on social media is changing the way that we have conversations.
Oh, I only did it on camera because,
right.
yeah.
Right. It's changing the way that we have conversations.
It is.
It's changing the way that other people are having it too, because you feel the need to specify that when that's obviously, it's a common sense thing.
Right.
Your opinion should always matter. You should love yourself above everything else. Like you can't love others until you love yourself, kind of thing.
Did I not say that as obviously?
Well, no, you did. You had to say it though. And you
Right.
shouldn't have had to say that. If my opinion is the only opinion that matters to you outside of like,
Oh, of course. I mean, I am.
right. You shouldn't have to say that though.
Right.
Because your opinion and your thoughts are yours. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, the people that you love and trust and value, those are the opinions that matter. Beyond that, they shouldn't matter to you. And the fact that you had to specify that is kind of disgusting.
It is pretty disgusting. And I think going forward, before I say something like that, and be a disclaimer for the hurt ones out there.
Yeah.
And then lead into that. Because those are the only ones getting offended by a statement like
Right.
that. You're damaged and you're hurt, and you're doing absolutely nothing about it to fix yourself.
Or
you're
they're
waiting.
reaching for a reason to create problems on the internet.
They're looking for a Bob the Builder.
Can we fix it? Yes, we can.
I mean, not you if you're not putting in the work yourself. Okay. I was just thinking, I can see why people think I'm a bitch.
Your goose is condescending as fuck, by the way.
I love him.
And you just angled him right at the chair.
He's my guard goose.
Yeah.
Dressed like a bee. That's the insult to injury. You're allergic to bees.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Taunting me, goose.
I myself want to further invest into our relationship, but I am unsure how to go to her or when the right time is to ask her to make that commitment to the idea of us without pushing her away. I can answer that one. Yeah, wait. You be patient. You be everything that... okay. Rewind. This is if you are with somebody you are certain you want to be with and they are not playing games with you. You wait and you're patient. And you are a strong support pillar in their life that they can turn to with no judgment, no shaming, and you are a safety for them. He put me through the ringer. Like, not like playing games and being shitty and talking to other women. There was a lot of trust that had to be gained there. Mm-hmm. And I went with it. And there were days that you were going through it and you would blow up on me and I'd be like, I'm sorry you're having a bad day. Is there anything I can do to help make you happy? It's patience. It's grace. You can't push it. You can 100% scare off something good.
Everything that you just said is valid. However, I also think that conversations need to be had. If they're 6 months in and they haven't had a conversation about the future yet, that's a problem. 6 months is not a long time, but you should be having conversations of like, what does the future look like for you? Do you want to be married?
Okay.
Do you want to have kids? Do you want to buy a house? Do you want to buy land? Do you want to retire on a boat? Like, you are supposed to be finding the ins and the outs of your person this entire time. And now if you've been doing that this entire time and you're 6 months in and you're ready to really like commit to this person, the conversation of moving in together might need to come up.
Okay. So now I have a question for you.
Okay.
Because I would try to have those conversations with you and you were like, we should just live in the now.
Right. Because I was going through a lot. I was protecting my mental health and like not trying to make borderline decisions in borderline moments.
Okay. I think that's important to know
Right.
because people do say that, let's just live in the now, and it could be for various of reasons.
Yeah. Well, those conversations should also be had.
Yeah.
But I also have an emotional maturity about me, and I've done a lot of digging into my darkness to figure out what's what for me. So I know I'm very aware of me, and I wasn't always that way, but like I taught myself that shit. So, that could also be a let's just live in it now. Could be code for I don't think I want to go any more than what we're doing. Like you need to ask those questions. Those questions should be asked between two people, and those conversations should be had. But again, if he's wanting to move forward and actually solidify this and make this like a lifelong thing, and he's got the feelings for, then maybe he needs to just go to dinner with her one night and be like, all right, look, we've been doing this for 6 months now. I'm, starting to fall for you or whatever, and I want to be the man that you've never had before. What is living together look like for you? Is that something that you're interested in? Do you feel the same way? Like, have the conversation. The absolute worst that's going to happen is you're going to continue living the way that you're currently living. And it sounds like you're kind of okay and happy doing that. So if that's the case, keep doing it. And if she's like, well, this is just a fling for me, then you know that there's no real longevity there.
Right.
And you have options. Knowledge is a good thing to have, because it gives you routes to take.
Right.
If you don't know where you're going, you're never going to have the direction to get there. So.
The both of us have so much that we relate to, and I admire so much about this woman. She is such a strong, loyal, smart, and kind person, and unfortunately went through so much that she did not deserve. I want to develop and nurture this relationship we have and build it to where we can both be vulnerable and open with each other. Thank you for what you do for society, and look forward to further supporting you guys.
That's the second or third time that he mentioned all the shit that she went through in that email.
Right.
Is this some sort of like savior thing? Like, are you trying to jump in and save the day because she had a rough past? What happens when things are going good and that savior thing is no longer there and there's nothing there for you to try to
fix?
Try to fix, right.
That's when boring comes in.
Right. Just something to think about. Obviously, it's not...
Right. That's not like across the board for
no,
everybody.
It was just a thought because
right.
he mentioned it twice, or 3 times, however many times he mentioned it.
I mean, it's very important to ask yourself those questions anyway. Even if you're certain that's not the case, you should look into it anyway. Yeah. Just the 0.5% chance that could be a possibility. You want to see all of the ways that could play out and the ways that you would react to the situation, especially if you want to be in a relationship with her.
So,
this one's titled, Hated for Something I Didn't Do. Hi there. I'm looking for advice. My boyfriend and father of our 1-month-old was previously married. He and his ex eloped and were set to have a big wedding a year later. 3 days before the wedding, she told him that she had been cheating. They were together for 8 years. Understandably, he came with trust issues. I understand that and still kind of do. I got pregnant the month after a very traumatizing ectopic. I'm assuming she meant to say pregnancy. I ovulated July 6th. Have a picture of the date ovulation strip to prove it. He left for a boys' trip to the beach the week after. There are some days where he says our baby doesn't look like him. She looks like a mini me, and he jokes that he hopes he's the father because he doesn't know what I did during that week while he was gone.
This is stupid. Get a DNA test.
I would do the DNA test.
That's the answer to this. The moment he goes, that boy don't look like me, be like, cool, open your mouth, swab that motherfucker. DNA test. Mm-hmm. I think that when babies are born,
there should be one anyway.
Every fucking time. Because 1 in 4 men are raising children that aren't theirs.
Yeah. 1 in 4 men.
Yeah.
Out of the vast population, 1 in 4. That's not... That's a very small group.
Well, considering that 1 in 200 men are narcissists, like diagnosed narcissists, then I would say, yeah, that's a very high number of men.
That's crazy.
Who are raising children who are not theirs. So that's the answer to this. That I don't. The rest of this email is completely irrelevant because DNA test exists.
Okay.
If this is really a concern for you and you want to prove that this kid is his, DNA test.
I would do the DNA.
You can do that by mail.
You can, yeah. I would do the DNA test, and there would be a very long conversation about you're not doing this ever again.
I wouldn't even have the conversation. I would just do the DNA test.
Yeah.
And when the results come back, just hand them to him. There you go. Didn't do nothing wrong.
I don't know. That would change my perspective of the relationship. Like,
why?
If you constantly came to me and made jokes about, oh, I hope the kid's mine. Like, why are you treating me this way?
Yeah.
Like, of course the child is yours. I'm devoted to you.
Well, she said he had trust issues. We have no idea how long he was not with his previous person until they got together.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that, again, I think every man needs to DNA test their children. Like, period. But if he's saying that kind of shit, he obviously doesn't trust her. That's a whole different conversation.
Right.
But if the title of that email was hated for something she didn't do, if she's hated, she shouldn't have bred with him.
Yeah.
Why have a kid with somebody who hates you? Now I feel like we need to just read the rest of the email.
I've already moved it. It's gone.
Moving on.
There was not much more after that.
Yeah. Get a DNA test. And then after the DNA test, be like, don't you ever fucking question me again.
Yeah.
And if you don't trust me after this, proving that this is the case, then we should just go ahead and split. I mean, that's obviously a whole different conversation, but that I don't understand why people would even write in over that. That's a logic answer.
Yeah, DNA test.
That kid don't look like me. Cool, open your mouth. Swab. Swab. Male. They can break down your genetics from a Q-tip.
Yeah. Next.
Yep.
This one's titled Opinion. Would love to hear an opinion on the situation I am in. I have been with my partner for 3 years. I'm originally from across the country and all my family still lives there. My sister is having a baby, so I travel to visit and wait for the baby to arrive. It has been 1 week now, with hopes of not much longer. This separation has been extremely hard on my partner, resulting in conversations about ending the relationship because he doesn't want to be alone when I go to visit and would never ask me not to go.
That's very controlling and manipulative.
Very insecure.
He's trying to manipulate her into not going. If you leave, I'm going to leave you. That's what that says,
right.
Just without saying that.
I can't handle being 1 week away from you, so I want to end the relationship.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, right?
Make it make sense. I would walk away from this. That's terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a manipulative mindset. Manipulative behavior.
Very manipulative behavior. Is it possible to navigate this effectively? In my opinion, no. I would not even attempt to navigate this effectively. I'm going to go see my niece or nephew being born, and you're sitting here telling me I can't stand to be away from you. I think I might want to break up.
Yeah, I would call out the manipulative behavior of that, and then I would probably split.
Yeah, that's massive red flag.
Did it say how long they were together?
No. Oh, 3 years. It did. I've been with my partner for 3 years.
Okay, so wait a minute. They said partner. I assume married when I hear partner.
Oh, I don't know.
Because otherwise you're a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Yeah.
That matters. But, I mean, a breakup is not divorce. So you're dating. Like, you're not married in 3 years, and he's going to threaten to leave you because you want to go see a family member be born? And then trying to manipulate you into staying? That's a control mechanism. So what happens if you don't go? And he realizes that trigger works for you because you would rather not see your family to make sure that your relationship is intact.
He's going to start doing it with your friends.
He's going right. That's going to evolve into other things. That's a manipulation tactic. Absolutely.
Yeah. I would not try to fix this. I know that it's going to be an upheaval in life and you guys are intertwined in multiple kinds of ways, especially if you're living together.
Well, that's not in there either.
Well, she said she moved across the country.
Oh, yeah. I guess so. Yeah.
While I'm there during that waiting period to give birth, I'd be like, hey, Mom, you got a spare bedroom?
Why not just try to take him with you?
Because, P.S., whether he could get off of work or not to come with me, he didn't want to.
I don't understand people. If you were going to do something and I was worried about you doing something wrong, because that's what that sounds like. It sounds like there's a trust issue there. I would either try to go or I would just tell you, like, I don't trust you to be gone for that long. And then we would have a discussion as to why my trust is not there in you. You know what I mean? Because there's a deeper issue there.
And that's a totally different conversation versus I don't want you leaving, period.
Right.
Yeah.
Either way, it's manipulative.
It is.
Yeah. Don't like that.
Me either. I'm not ready to give up, and I want to understand his emotions about it. Except it's not new. I have always been from across the country where my family lives now. I have always gone to visit a few times a year. Yes, this may be an extenuating circumstance, as it is ending up lasting longer than expected. But I really want to find a way to put his mind at ease without saying I'll never leave again, because I will, as family is extremely important to me.
Right. He's trying to manipulate you.
He's giving you an ultimatum. It's your family or it's me.
Right. And the longer you've been there, the more control he'll have in that aspect. If you guys have been together for 5, 6, 7, 8 years and you want to do something, he's like, if you do that, we're done. Are you going to give up 8 years to go do that? Like, that's a manipulation tactic. There's something more going on there, whether he's trying to manipulate the situation or he doesn't trust you. There's a bigger issue at play.
If our daughter came to me and said, my boyfriend just told me if I were to come out here and visit again, that he would leave me, you're going to catch me on that flight back. Yeah. I'm going to go get your shit for you. I'm going to bring Pops with me. I'm going to go in there like I'm going to be the hurricane force and you're just my bodyguard.
Yeah. The toxic duo. The toxic duo.
When it comes to protecting our children. And same thing goes for any ladies. If I hear some woman out there is trying to manipulate our son, girl, you're going to get a lot harder from me.
And you got to let them kids live their life and learn their lessons.
I do agree with that. If that lesson becomes marriage and that person's coming over to our household, I'm definitely going to have something to say.
Yeah, well, I mean, they don't have to come to our household. And you remember that too.
It's going to be a one-on-one conversation with the person. We're going to do this separate from everybody else, and we're going to figure out our shit together. One of my children made the choice to be with you, and I have to accept that. And now we're going to figure out how to cohabit this. Any final thoughts on that?
Nope. When you guys send emails and there's not a ton of information in the emails, you're going to get a very vague reply.
You're going to get the same amount of energy put into the answer that you put into the email. This one is titled, Please Shed Some Light on This One. Dear Chris and Peaches, first of all, I want to express my admiration for your podcast and a thank you because I'm slowly coming to terms with being a young modern woman in a modern society with, what I realize now, some traditional values when it comes to relationships. I just want to say I very much appreciate the people who take the time in their email to thank us for what we do.
Yeah.
It makes it more worth doing this, the gratitude, because this is a lot. It's very taxing. Some of it comes home with us. It's a lot to navigate. So knowing that it's appreciated is appreciated. I am mentioning this hoping that it makes sense to you, as the dilemma that I am about to share is related to the juxtaposition.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck does that mean?
I don't remember.
What does juxtaposition mean? The fact of two things being seen or placed close together with contrasting effect. Thank you for showing me a new word.
Yeah, there used to be a magazine called Juxtapose or something like that.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
an art magazine.
The dilemma that I'm about to share is related to the juxtaposition between what I feel society expects me to think and what I actually think in regards to what I'm about to share. My boyfriend and I have been dating for about a year now, and it's the healthiest relationship we both have ever been in. Communication is on point. We care for each other. Our values and morals are shared, and we couldn't make each other happier. There is one thing that haunts me almost on a weekly basis. And even though I totally acknowledge that part of it is me projecting one of my insecurities that I didn't even know I had until I started dating him, I am still unsettled with our resolution on the matter. My boyfriend and I met while we were working together. When we started dating, very early on, he mentioned a couple of girls in his past that he had been sexually involved with during his phase of growth and recovery from several past failed relationships. A phase that ended shortly before he met me. So he had a hoe phase. He felt the urge to tell me this for two reasons. One of the girls, I was her boss, and the other one was still part of his friend group. He acknowledges that both cases were a mistake for obvious reasons. The first one being that both of these girls are and were emotionally unstable and toxic.
I'm going to pause you for a minute. So we know that this is a problem for her because it's obviously the topic of the email.
Right.
And this is why we have the option of either telling you what's going on or lying to you about it.
Right.
He chose to be completely transparent.
And now it's a problem.
And now it's a fucking problem.
Yeah.
We rarely find ourselves in a position where we can win in a scenario. And by win, I mean life just goes on. That's a win. Like, if there's not a conflict, that's a fucking win. He could have lied and not had conflict until she found out that was the case, and then he lied to her. Or he can tell her the truth, and it becomes a fucking problem either way, and now he's got to navigate that water because she's got an issue with something that he did before they were even together.
Right. Also, what a kick in the teeth to think that you're doing the right thing to avoid a confrontation or a conflict, and then it just turns into one anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but men are liars. It's because you've trained us to be that way.
I recall there's been several times where you've looked at me and you're like, you're not going to fight me on this?
Right.
Like, you're not going to argue with me about this? You were totally flabbergasted. I can't remember what the conversation was, but you said you were taking a day or two to figure out how to tell me this because you were worried of how I would react. Mm-hmm. And my reaction was like, okay.
I don't remember what that was about.
I don't remember either. But talk about living in fight or flight.
It's normal.
Right. Women will scream from the rooftops that we are always in fight or flight because of men, when on the flip side of the coin, men are always in fight or flight because of us. It's not because of our strength and the fact that we can hold them down and do things to them. We have a mental hold on men.
Yeah, it's 100% psychological.
I will not get into details of my experience with these two because the email would be way too long. Let's just say that with the first one, I had to try to be the bigger person when she passively aggressively talked shit about my boyfriend with me, and third person when she found out that we were dating.
You don't have to be passive aggressive.
Yeah, that's just I'm not doing this with
Right, you don't have to accept that. If somebody does that around you, you have the opportunity to be like, "Hey, don't fucking do that again." Mm-hmm. I don't appreciate you being passive aggressive. I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to manipulate the situation to make me feel bad, and I don't appreciate that shit. If you've got something negative to say about my partner, say it. Get it out. Get it off your chest. We can move past this afterwards, or you can fuck right off.
Yeah.
What are you laughing at?
Because my mind went to she could start doing all of that shit. I put myself in this position. I live lifetimes in a split second in my brain. So putting myself in that position, one of your past flings comes to me and tries talking shit, finding out that we're together. My immediate response would be, well, a see you next Tuesday fits you pretty well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
No wonder he chose me. Walk away.
Yeah. Shit's crazy to me.
Yeah. I'm not somebody who has a back and forth with people.
You don't have to.
Mm-mm. I had a conversation the other day with somebody and they kept trying to bring up other shit. I'm like, what does this have to do with what I'm talking to you about right now? Why are you so emotional?
Right.
And people get so caught off guard when you hit them with, why are you so emotional? Because they're so used to that energy just being fed back and forth in the chaos. When you shut that shit down, people don't know how to behave. I want to touch on, I had to try to be the bigger person. Either be the bigger person or don't. If it is a struggle for you to be mature and not carry on conversations that are childish, you have a lot more work to do. It's not hard for me to be the bigger person. It's not. There was a time where it was, and that was when I was going through most of my growth, when I was recognizing I was part of the problem. So if it's still hard for you to be the bigger person, you still have a lot to work on.
Yeah, shit's mind over matter.
It is.
I don't mind and you don't matter.
That's
all there is to that shit. I'm not going to disrupt my peace because of other people's nonsense. I'm just not.
You should put that on a t-shirt.
I don't mind and you don't matter?
Mm-hmm.
Pick your battles.
I'm going to start using that.
Yeah.
The second one, I have to see her face to face every now. I have to see her face every now and then during friend gatherings. Mind you, this girl fell hard for my boyfriend, and even though they broke up a long time ago, she would still ask him out and text him until she found out that he had a girlfriend.
And if he was single, what's the problem? Did it stop when he has a girlfriend? Because if it stopped, then that means she's respecting boundaries. So what's the problem?
It could also be that he's laying boundaries.
Could be.
He could have been just letting her slide into DMs too. Either way, it doesn't matter. It's ended.
Yep.
Where I'm from, it is very unlikely that you find yourself having to interact with people that have had some sexual or emotional involvement with your current partner. To me, whatever is in the past belongs in the past. Well, clearly it doesn't.
I was just thinking that. If that was true, this email wouldn't be written.
Right. It is inconceivable to me that I find myself in a situation where if I want to be a part of his life, I gotta sit on the opposite side of the table from someone who has fucked my boyfriend.
We have holidays with people who fucked my wife. Should I send us an email? How do I deal with this? It's called being an adult. People have a past. I don't understand why this is a problem. If she was sitting on the other side of him with her hand on his lap, I can see there being an issue.
Right.
They're not together anymore. People have, we've talked about this over and over again on the podcast. People have a past. If they're still doing that shit, it's a problem.
Yeah.
If they tried to make it work and it didn't work, there's a reason they're not together. If he was stringing her along and like taking advantage of her or using her and like manipulating her and doing that shit, or she was doing that to him, it would be a different conversation.
Mm-hmm. And if he's not having private DMs with her when you guys aren't hanging out in a group, I really don't see the issue.
I don't either.
If he's cut off contact with her and he's not buddy-buddy and doing lunch dates and shit with her.
Right. And if he had nefarious intentions in any of this, he wouldn't have been as transparent as he was in the beginning.
Right. He wouldn't have told you anything.
Right.
He would have just continued on doing what he was doing with the girl who was clearly still in love with him. Y'all need to learn to take a win and stop trying to find losses for yourself.
It's also not a big deal to pull her aside and be like, hey, I know you guys had a past. I appreciate that you're not blowing up his phone and trying to make things like I'm aware of your history, just to let it be known. So there's not like some secret animosity happening there.
Yeah.
Communication is more than relationships. It's every facet of your life. Being able to properly talk to people goes a long fucking way.
Right. She could be sitting on the other side of that table going, I hope that she doesn't fucking hate me. I can tell that she hates me.
Could be.
That one simple conversation of, hey, he told me about your guys' past. I appreciate you respecting our bounds. Could change the tone of everything, not just for her, but just for you.
Right. Who knows? That could end up being your best friend one day.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, guys obviously have a similar taste in men. It'll give you something to talk about.
Yeah, it does. Back into the email. My imagination plays against me on this. My discomfort comes from the fact that my mind wanders. I can clearly picture him doing what he does with me with another woman, and I feel disgusted to my core.
Joke's on you. He's done it with a lot of other women.
Not just those two.
Right. So this is the body count argument from a woman's standpoint.
Yeah.
There's an immaturity behind that. Do you really think that you're going to live your whole life and find a virgin at however old you are?
In today's society.
Especially in today's society? Right.
People are losing their virginity at 13 years old now.
I was 12.
Like.
1992.
Yep. I was 13.
Yep.
I have intrusive thoughts like that.
Do you?
Yeah, where I think about your past.
Why?
Because it's an intrusive thought. It's anything that my mind can bring to my attention to try and ruin what I have in my life. And when those thoughts come into my mind, immediately I close the door on that shit. I am not fancying it. I am not going to try to entertain it. I'm not going to give it my attention. The things that you dwell on are the things that you are willingly giving your attention to.
Yeah. That's what your reality is. Your realities are the things that you pay attention to.
Mm-hmm. I also recognize that your past 20 years ago has absolutely nothing to do with what I'm living with you right now.
My past 4 years ago, 5 years ago, none of that. 10 months ago. It's the past.
Yeah. I'm speaking more specifically on your...
I know what you're speaking on. I'm just saying, though, that it's true. Yeah. Like, none of that matters. Like, it doesn't matter. Right now is what is important. And if I was miserable in our marriage and I was repeating behavioral patterns of my old me, you would have a reason to be concerned and to feel that way. But when I look at you while we're watching TV and I tell you I'm the happiest I've ever been in life and how great our fucking life is and how happy I am that you're a part of what we're doing, why would you have that worry? Like,
oh, I don't have a worry.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, because you said you have intrusive thoughts. Like,
yeah, it's not a worry. It's intrusive thoughts. Like when I'm on the interstate, I'm going 80 miles an hour. You should run into that tree.
Yeah, I think everybody does that.
So.
Probably not everybody, but the mentally ill.
That's that kind of intrusive thought for me. It is. I know that's not my reality. It's nothing I should focus on. So I don't worry about that kind of thing at all.
Okay.
All right, because you said it's a worry for me.
No, it's an intrusive thought.
Yeah.
But those intrusive thoughts happen. You're able to close the door on it. If you weren't able to close the door on it, it's because you're thinking about whatever it is that you're thinking about.
Mind you, this only happens with these people because in one way or another, I was/am forced to interact with them. I absolutely own that this is a me problem, but I can't stop it.
How are you being forced?
About to say you don't have to go, but then that's going to be another problem for you because she's going to be there, your boyfriend's going to be there alone. So
Right.
Pick your battle. You're either going to go and you're going to be happy that you're spending time with your man and show off the fact that you landed him, or you can sit at home and be bitter about the fact that he's there with some girl and you can't handle the fact being there with him.
I'm glad that we have a very small social circle.
Me too. I love our life. Back into the email. The fucking cherry on top is that one random day he was telling me a story about his trip to another city that he went with a girl that used to be a part of the friend group. He told me that during that trip they had sex, but after that their relationship just fell off and that girl eventually withdrew from the friend group for about a whole year. This girl is a college friend of my BF's best friend, so during the year of disappearance she would only be in contact with him. Also, his best friend is the only one who knows about this, the rest of the friend group having no idea.
You know about it.
I got so mad at this because I was already tired of girls from his past popping up like fucking mushrooms out of the blue. Girl, you need to work on yourself.
Yeah, you're very insecure.
This is
I can always tell people's ages by the emails. I'm willing to guess she's in her 20s.
Early 20s or a very immature 40-year-old.
Really?
My mom's 50. So, this is a lot for me to process. Anybody you are ever with is going to have a past of people that they slept with.
Yep.
You could ruin this whole relationship with your insecurities, move on to another man, and ruin him too.
Yeah. Just realize that you'll never be able to date anyone ever because they have a past. And heaven forbid you have to encounter one of them.
Right.
I don't get it. If that relationship was still a thing, it would still be happening.
Right. If he wanted to be with that person, he would be with that person.
Right. Yep.
This also shows the different mindset that men versus women have tied to sex.
Why is that? Because this sounds exactly like the body count argument.
Because it is a lot easier for a man to have sex and be one and done and move on with no emotional attachment. Women are more likely to have an emotional attachment form after sex.
Is that actually true? Because with everything that's being posted on the internet now, I don't think that's a thing. Isn't that like the brag is that women can now fuck without emotion?
I think they've been raised into that.
Yeah.
I don't believe that though. I do not believe that every single man or woman sleep with that it's just ditching and moving on. You feel bad about yourself. You want to feel loved, and I'm certain that there's that one guy you're like, ooh, I could do it with him, but then you have a body count.
Yeah.
Dudes don't want to be with someone who is in the corn business or has a 200 body count. I do believe that women can just have sex and move on and have no emotions attached. I just think it's more likely for women to form an emotional bond through sex versus a man doing it. So if she's so insecure about this, do you think that he's in love with these women just because he had sex with them? Because that's not how that works. We had a long conversation about how many people should I be aware of, because it looked like I could not have one fucking chill gathering with his friends without having to breathe the same air as somebody who has sucked his dick. You are so bitter. Holy shit.
I would go after that. If she would have said that to me, if you would have ever said that to me, the next time we went somewhere, I would whisper in your ear and be like, just so you know, everyone in this room has sucked my dick. Think about that. I would be petty. I would fucking petty spaghetti so hard over that. Men too. Everyone. All of them. All 6 of my friends. So fucking stupid.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying she's stupid. The thought process behind that is stupid. What does it matter if they're not currently doing those things?
Well, I mean, would it make you feel better, like suck his hot dog in front of them? Would that set dominance? Alpha?
If you can't handle the fact that somebody has a past, just stay single.
Yeah. I agree with that statement. And if this is how you write it in an email, I would put money on the fact that this is how you're conveying it to him too.
I'm willing to bet that it's worse. I'm willing to bet that this is dummied down to not show like any type of crazy or
but it is.
Right.
Have you been used before? Like me asking the emailer, have you been used? Is that why you're so frantic about him being around people he used to have sex with? Have you been cheated on by someone in your past with someone they slept with before? Like, what is the root of this?
Curious if she has a body count. Is this her first time? Like,
or are you a virgin?
Right. Because otherwise, like, you've done it too.
Right.
And though he may not be around the people that you did it with, I wonder if he would react the same way. This sounds like an immaturity to me.
I agree.
Wait until you guys, people who feel that way, wait until you meet somebody who has kids and they're co-parenting and you have to be around them on holidays and they're in your home eating your fucking cooked meals. Who gives a shit? Mm-hmm. If they want to be with that person, not only would they, you can't stop them.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to hide it, they probably could.
Yeah.
Just live your life.
Yeah.
Don't live in what ifs. If it becomes a problem and it becomes factual and you know it's factual, deal with it then. Until then, there's no point.
There is a massive difference between this kind of mindset and the mindset that I have. I would walk into a room filled with your exes that you specifically had sex with, and I'd be peacocking the shit out of myself.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Why?
Because I landed you and I still have you. And I know that I provide everything in your life up to standard and beyond that. And you are satisfied. I cannot say the thing that I wanted to say, but you are good. And I know that's more than you've ever received in your damn life, so... Caw.
Oh, peacock, you gotta let me fly.
He told me that these are the only 3 people that I know personally. He also mentioned this third girl because he doesn't want secrets between us, but that he was hesitant to even mention her because, again, she withdrew from the friend group, so the chances that I would have met her are slim.
Or the fact that he was hesitant to mention her because of the way you acted over the first 2.
I bet that's where that...
I think it is too. Because you've now trained him how you're going to react to certain situations and he's not going to want to divulge things.
That's exactly where my mind went to. I am assuming that you would have never met her was an excuse to not say the way you reacted the first 2 times is why I'm hesitant.
Right.
Yeah. The universe is fucking funny sometimes because magically, literally the week after he told me this girl made a comeback into the friend group. This is the universe testing you because you failed the first 2 times. This is the universe saying, when are you going to get the hint and get over it? Because if you don't, I'm just going to keep doing it to you. She went from not being worth mentioning to being present in every single fucking social event. That's not his own device. It's not like she's third wheeling your guys' dates. She's meeting up with a friend group. This is somebody I would not be friends with.
Yeah, no, I agree.
This is somebody I would not want in my life. This is very immature. I, being super uncomfortable and fed up with this, would not show up when she would come. Which also made me feel like shit because I would be missing out on being a part of his life. That's your choice.
It is a choice.
That's your choice. Did she show up and she started flirting with your boyfriend and he's reciprocating it? Did she show up and she's being mad, inappropriate, and disrespecting your relationship? Her presence is not a hindrance to your life in any facet if that's not happening. I say this with love, you need to get over yourself. What made me lose it is that one day while we were watching a movie in his house, his friend came in drunk after happy hour. Then this girl that I have never seen before comes in being super obnoxious, raising voices and having that drunken attitude of wanting to be in the spotlight. I kid you not, she threw herself into my arms and gave me a hug and a kiss while introducing herself. At that moment, I found out she was this girl. She could have thrown herself into your man's arms and kissed him.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, clearly she's over the fact that you have a man that she once had.
Right.
She's not bitter towards you.
So she showed up with another dude?
She showed up with another dude.
Okay. Yeah. I would have rejected this email. screeners, I would reject this stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the type of emails that is helpful to anyone. And like, this is her problem. She's emotionally immature and she's hung up on shit that she has no control over.
I disagree that this isn't helpful because a lot of people live in this mindset.
Yeah.
And I think us discussing this could be a rude awakening for a lot of them.
Okay.
I was in shock, but I could feel my blood boiling. My boyfriend was pallid. Girl, you know your fucking place. At that moment, I ran to my boyfriend's room and cried out of helplessness because in my mind, she would assume that I know about her past involvement with my boyfriend. So again, know your fucking place and don't you dare touch me. When we were in Vegas, we were on an elevator at 7 a.m. and this drunk girl got into the elevator and she was just doting on me. I love your hair. Your face is so cool. Like all of it. And I thought she was going to touch me. I wasn't a bitch to her. I didn't say know your fucking place. She was somebody who was having a good night, saw somebody who she thought was beautiful and was just a little overexcited and inebriated. You need to learn to have grace with people. Her throwing herself into your arms and kissing you is certainly over excessive.
Yeah.
And I would have backed away, but I'm not going to cry over that. That would have been like oh, it's nice to meet you. My boyfriend's told me all about you. Good things, of course. Perspective. My boyfriend was pallid. I was in shock, but I could feel my blood boiling. My boyfriend was pallid. So he was pale. I could understand, like, if your friend barged in their house drunk as shit with some girl and they're both being obnoxious, I would 100% expect you to escort them outside. I've had several arguments about this, but they were not really arguments because he would feel terrible for the situation and would validate every single one of my feelings. Out of rage, I made the mistake of slut-shaming him. And even though we both know it was unfair, and I cannot apologize enough, he took it stating that he acknowledges his mistakes and that he is very sorry about his past haunting me this hard.
Wow. I wouldn't apologize for that.
I wouldn't apologize either. This is a you problem.
Yep.
Them showing up at our house like that is not my fault. I didn't invite them here. This girl coming back into the friend group, I didn't say I miss you so much. Can you please come back and hang out with the friend group? If this was the boyfriend writing in and he laid all of this out for us.
Bro, he would get so much hate on the internet. Oh my God, he would get so much hate on the internet.
Why?
For slut shaming and having a problem with her body count and the past that she's had.
Oh no, I meant if this was a boyfriend writing in saying my girlfriend is acting this way towards me.
Oh, yeah. No, I
like,
think you meant if the roles were reversed.
No, I agree. He would be torn apart. Absolutely unacceptable. But if a boyfriend wrote in saying that this is his girlfriend's behavior, bro, if she's not willing to change, your ass needs to run.
The problem is this happens all the time and it's just not discussed.
He talked to his best friend and told him about how I felt, and he understood. So they agreed that every time this girl would be invited to something, he would tell my boyfriend in advance so I could decide on whether or not I'm coming. The problem is, okay, I can't keep going. His whole friend group, if they don't know about this already, his friend knows about it.
They all know.
There's a judgment there.
They all know.
You are viewed as weak because of this.
Yeah. Yeah. They all know. Everyone knows about who's fucked who now, and they all know that you're a psycho girlfriend.
Yeah.
Yep. And they know that they have to be careful of how they invite people to do things.
They have to tiptoe around you.
Because now he's going to get shit if you can't handle the fact that other people are around.
Yeah.
You're the problem.
The problem is that even though this is how things are now, this girl is present all the time. So I'm missing out on everything. I understand the situation is complicated as his friends are not responsible for cleaning up my boyfriend's messes, but part of me feels like in this case they're not making space for me to exist.
How can he clean up his messes? Is there a way to unfuck someone? I would like to know, because I definitely have some I regret in life.
Right.
And if I could just take that back somehow and unfuck them, like, is there a button I can push? Is there like a star 3-digit number I can call to make that happen?
No.
What does she expect him to do?
What I'm hung up on is that they're not making space for her to exist. You're the one choosing not to go to these outings.
Right. They want the friend. She wants the friend group to stop inviting the other friends so that she can take place.
She wants them to pick her.
Is that the type of person that you'd want to hang out with? One that tries to dictate the way your friend group?
Oh no, I'd stop inviting you.
Yeah, I would too.
Be like, homie, you can't bring your girlfriend.
Yeah.
I am a very accommodating person to an extent. If your personal issues is a problem for the friend group, that's a you problem. I'm just not inviting you anymore.
As the friend group, I would stop inviting both of them.
Yeah.
This would destroy friendships.
Yeah.
The first time that she acted up in a social setting and like tried to make waves, where I found out about it after the fact, that would be the last time I invited them out.
Yeah.
Because if they're in love and they're actually doing the relationship thing and you invite him and not her, that's a problem.
I don't know what to ask from my boyfriend. Nothing. You ask nothing of your boyfriend. This is a you problem. You need to get over yourself. Mm-hmm. She won't go away because it's not my boyfriend's decision. But at the same time, I feel unhappy with how this issue is being managed. I mean, you are the only one who's managing this because this is an internal you problem. Right. So if you don't like how it's being managed, you need to reevaluate the way you're handling it.
Yeah, it's only affecting her until she starts unloading on the boyfriend and slut-shaming him.
Right. Or they have to rearrange friend group activities to make her happy.
To accommodate her, right.
This isn't somebody I would want in my life. Mm-mm. In any facet. Yeah, if you can't handle the fact that the person you're with has a past and that those people might be around and they're not being inappropriate in any way, you probably shouldn't date. I would recommend therapy, working on your self-worth, and being secure in what you have with your man. That would be the main focus, not how can I get everybody to appease me. Yeah.
Feel bad for that dude.
Me too.
He was being totally transparent and blew up in his face. Which means the next relationships he's in, he won't do that.
No, he won't because he's going to be scared too.
Yep.
You have damaged a man. Because you in yourself are damaged and you haven't healed that. Or you're not even trying to heal that. Kudos to him for still staying. He very clearly loves this woman or he wouldn't put up with it.
Yeah. I don't know. It may not be love. Maybe comfort.
Yeah.
Could be some good booty. Who knows? I don't know. I wouldn't tolerate that.
Me either.
You're treated the way you allow people to treat you.
Mm-hmm.
So there's to that. And he's allowing it to happen, which means it's just going to continue.
Yeah.
And it's going to get worse. Because if she wins this scenario, and it will be a win if he cuts those friends out of the friend group.
Who else can I start cutting out that
she now has the ability to control 100% of every facet of his life. And she'll find a way to manipulate it and make it happen.
And then long-term marriage-wise, I don't like your mom. So either we stop going to your mom's house or I'm leaving.
Right.
Okay.
With that being said, guys, remember you are the authors of your own life.
So grab a pen.
And we will see you on the next one.
Bye, guys.